Hi, everyone. It's Tessa.
And Joe.
From the Unveiling Paradise podcast.
Tessa, summer is almost here, and so many of our listeners are about to have their epic destination wedding.
And we are so excited for you guys.
Before the big day, guys, we want you to make sure you listen to these 3 episodes.
Episode 62, Deep Diving Your Wedding Ceremony.
Episode 53, Questions Your Wedding Guests Will Ask.
And episode 31, The Final Countdown to Your Wedding Day.
And if you're planning your wedding here in Hawaii, hit us up and ask us about our Unveiling Paradise podcast promo.
Happy planning. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Unveiling Paradise podcast. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Tessa. How are you doing today?
I'm good as always. How about you?
So good.
Yeah? We have a topic today that I'm really excited to kind of break down with you because I have a lot of big feelings today. Is that cool?
You always have big feelings.
Our topic today, I think, is a great topic. I think we're going to get a lot of feedback because it's something that's trending right now in the wedding world, but I don't know if I'm 100% on board every single thing.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Okay, so today we are going to talk about sustainable or eco-friendly weddings.
So you're not 100% on board with eco or sustainable weddings. Gosh.
Joe, don't put words in my mouth. I'm just saying that we have a lot of things to talk about. We have a lot of different ways, and I don't know if I'm on board with every single one.
Okay, so you're just a wasteful wedding
throwing
person.
Garbage in the air everywhere I go. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. Okay. I think I'm 100% on board, but I want to hear you out. I want to hear what you have to say, because when you think of your wedding day, I think there is a ton of waste that happens. You know, like at the end of the night, I know you know this, we see it all the time. There's just so many things that get thrown away. It might be the flowers. It might be these, DIY things that you thought were going to be great and nobody used and they're in the garbage. I don't think anyone has that intent when they're planning their wedding, or even maybe that foresight to think like how much waste they're going to create. So I think this is actually a really great topic to talk about.
And I'm really excited. I love that you mentioned that a lot of couples don't have the foresight, because I think that's exactly it. When you're planning a wedding, when you're talking about budget and decor and your guest list, you're not thinking at the end of the night, I have bags and bags of trash that I'm leaving behind, that I'm throwing out. So to go almost opposite of what you're saying about foresight, I had a couple that got married on Earth Day. They were environmental scientists and they were very much into sustainability. And so 4 things that anyone can do. So number 1, they had these really cute menus that were seeded so you can actually plant them and then flowers grow.
Wait, what? So they're menus?
It was like on like a recycled seeded paper. So the menu on the front and fun facts about Earth Day on the back. And then when you're done with it, you can take it home and plant them.
Oh, I like that. That's cool. Yeah.
So that was super cute.
Because that is absolutely something that would normally get thrown away.
Yes, 100%. Number 2, and this is the one where I feel like you and I are going to fight about, is they had no water bottles.
Okay.
So no plastic. And for me, sometimes the convenience of water bottles, I like it. At outdoor venues, handing it out to people at the end of the night, they can take it on the shuttles with them versus having glasses of water.
But can't you have like those biodegradable cups that, you don't have to have?
You can't take it on a bus. How are you going to take that on a bus with you?
Yeah.
Right? And really, a bus is better than everyone driving themselves so they can carry a cup. Okay, number 3, they had no disposable flatware or dishware. So no plastic forks, no plastic knives, no paper plates. It was all real flatware and glassware. Great.
Okay.
On board. And the last one is at the end of the wedding, we donated all of their flowers. So they didn't trash their flowers. We donated them to a retirement home. So all of these seniors could wake up to beautiful bouquets to brighten their day.
I love it. And I love today's topic. This is something I actually have been really excited to talk about for a very long time, because I think there are a lot of little tips and tricks that we've seen at weddings, because really at the end of the day, it's not so hard to create an eco-friendly or sustainable wedding. So let's get into today's show.
Welcome to Unveiling Paradise, your go-to destination wedding podcast. I'm Tessa, wedding planner and owner of Fred & Kate Events.
And I'm Joe, wedding and adventure photographer of Joseph Esser Photography. We are based in Hawaii, one of the biggest, most popular locations for destination weddings.
We want to share our real-life experiences with you, give you insight from a professional's perspective, and still make sure you're having fun in the process.
We're huge believers in the fact that planning a destination wedding can be one of the most amazing experiences, and we want to bring you along.
We're so excited to talk with you about weddings, Hawaii, and everything else under the sun.
So pack your bags and let's get started.
Welcome back to the show. Today we are talking about eco-friendly or sustainable weddings, and I love it. I love that we are talking about something that is so relevant in today's wedding market. People are starting to become just more aware of their surroundings, their actions, how they impact our environment. And again, we talked about this previously on the intro. These are small impacts. We are not asking you to create a zero waste wedding. We're not asking you to make your guest catch a boat versus a plane. Here are some simple ways that you can make your wedding just a little more friendly for the environment.
Yeah, I think if you were to think about like a zero waste wedding versus what we're talking about, we're not asking everyone to like take their food and create compost piles and, like anything like that. But these are all really simple things that anyone can do. Okay, Tessa, I know that we talked about this at the beginning of the show, but like weddings are really wasteful. When you think about how much money you're spending and the things you're spending that money on, a lot of it gets thrown away at the end of the night. Before we get into all of our tips, what do you see getting thrown out at the end of the night? Like if you were to go dumpster diving at the end of a wedding, what would you find in that dumpster?
There's a lot of things. So flowers are a big one, right? If the couple doesn't live here, they will throw their flowers away. And a lot of it is because to have someone come back and pick it up, there's an additional fee. So why would they pay when they can just throw it in the dumpster? We get a lot of the DIY items. So I've had couples buy linens and just throw it out because it's dirty, right? You have dirty napkins, linens, and they don't want to keep it, so they dump it out. I have fans, all the paper goods, all of that, welcome signs, all of that gets thrown away. There's so much, and food waste is a huge one too.
It's funny, like I think about that imagery of dumpster diving after a wedding, right? All the treasures you might find. But yeah, I know that like at the end of the day, like there's just so many bags of garbage. And food for sure is one. All of the disposable flatware, plates, forks, all that sort of stuff. It's things that if we have the foresight, we can avoid a lot of waste, right? So let's get into this. We have a list of 10 easy things to do that I think have actually really big impact for your wedding. So what's number one? What's the first thing we can do?
So the first one, which is I think, maybe slightly controversial, is a smaller guest count.
Right.
The less people you have, the less impact you have. And so a lot of times when you're doing destination weddings, natural selection, it kind of happens where you just have less people there, less people can travel. So it is a smaller footprint than if you were to have a 300, 400, 500 person wedding back home.
Well, I mean, that's factual, right? If you have less people, less waste.
Facts. Right. So, with less people, you are probably having less paper goods. So your invitations, your menus, your fans, all of that stuff that gets trashed at the end of the night, you have less rental items, you have less purchased items, favors, floral centerpieces. So again, smaller guest count, while I know can be unpopular, really does help save the environment.
That's great. And so if you have Aunt Sally and you're like, I really don't want you to be at the wedding.
Save the earth.
Save the earth, Aunt Sally. We love you, but we just don't want to do that to the planet.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. This is a very good technique to not invite some people as well, right?
We're saving the earth.
Yeah. What's number two? What's the second thing we can do?
So the next thing that I see that I think can definitely help you create a more sustainable wedding, it's the invitations. And when I say that, there's a lot of ways you can do this. Number one, you can choose recycled paper, right? So again, it's already been recycled, so you already have it in the system of being reused. You can print less invitations. So we've talked about this on another episode before. If you decide to go digital, you can just make one printout, one or two for your immediate family, for your photographer, for the flat lay. So you can still have the beautiful printout, but do you need to send one to everybody?
Right.
And I think that's a nice one.
Yeah, and it's funny. I think digital invitations have become so popular recently, and it's so easy to access all that information that I think paper invitations, I think they're kind of fading out a little bit.
And at the very least, my thought is this, is if you are very traditional and you want to send paper invitations, save the dates are something that, again, 5-10 years ago, no one sent a save the date. But now you feel like you have to send a save the date and then send the invitation. Why don't you at least decide to do the save the dates as digital?
Yeah, actually with the save the dates, I mean, I think you and I have seen all of the trends, the save the date magnet that people put on their refrigerator that inevitably gets thrown in the garbage.
And so the funny thing is those save the date magnets, my fridge is stainless steel, they don't stick on it. So I just have this magnet on my counter, which can't stick to anything. My favorite save the date, which I think is sustainable, is I've had save the date cookies. Yeah, so it's those custom sugar cookies with the date on it, and I love those. And talking about save the dates, this brings us to our next point, which again, if you're creating a wedding website, you can put all of your information there digitally versus when you send the invitation, having all of those inserts. So traditionally, couples would have an invitation, and then within the invitation, you have your RSVP card, you have your transportation information, you may have fun things to do around the island, you may have your room block information. So all of those would be on separate cards that you'd put into the envelope with your invitation. Now with websites, everything can be online and you save so much waste.
And if you think of like that invitation suite, it's almost like a booklet. There's a lot to it, right? And you think that's all going to go in the garbage. There you go.
No garbage, no waste, zero waste.
All right, perfect. What else you got?
So the next one is something that I actually really love.
You believe in this one.
I believe in this 100%, and I get this a lot from my couples. If you're getting married at a venue that is just gorgeous as it is, in Hawaii, we have a ton of these just rolling mountains, ocean view. You don't need to do a lot. So you don't need to bring in a lot of decor because you're working with a natural environment. You're working in these beautiful settings that you're not adding more waste because you're just working with what you've got. Mm-hmm. And I love that. And again, a lot of times when I'm talking to couples about their vision, their design, they're like, well, do we need to add anything? It's so pretty. And I said, you don't have to if you don't want to. Like, it's gorgeous as it is.
Yeah, and there's actually a venue that comes to my mind, Kualoa Ranch. Kualoa Ranch, you see it in all the movies that they ever film in Hawaii. And there's this spot at Kualoa Ranch that they do ceremonies at. It's like this view of the ocean that's perfectly framed with these coconut palm trees, right? And it's just gorgeous. Like, you couldn't decorate it to look like that better than nature's already done it. And so you think about that, that's perfect. Find a venue where you don't necessarily have to create something from scratch. It's already there, and it's beautiful.
And that leads me to the next point, is flowers, right? So when we're looking at these gorgeous venues, a lot of times couples want to lean in and they want to add, maybe some florals. What can we do to kind of enhance it versus creating this whole vision, right? A lot of times people will get married in Hawaii and they want to lean into Hawaii. Why would you get married outdoors in Hawaii and want to do a European romantic vibe? Like, that's just not what Hawaii is, right? So leaning in and leaning into those elements in places that you can. A couple of things, right? It's choosing florals that are locally grown is a great way to be sustainable. A lot of couples will also choose potted plants. So there are companies that rent plants, rent centerpieces, and then you return it to their nursery. Mm-hmm. So if you want just something really gorgeous on your tables, but not over the top, that's a great option. If you do choose to buy floral centerpieces and other elements, I always encourage my couples, if you're not going to take it, donate them.
Yeah. Well, and also, I think we want to point out that like having floral at your wedding doesn't necessarily have to be a wasteful thing. Like I have a plumeria tree in the back of my house. That thing is constantly pumping out flowers. If I don't pick them, guess what? Like they just end up on the ground. And like when you use locally grown, locally sourced materials, you're not talking about the same amount of waste that's included, the carbon footprint that's included if you're flying in your orchids from Mexico or wherever it might be. So again, like when we can roll into those tropicals, those botanicals that we have here already, then that's a win for everybody. When you say donate, what do you mean by that? Like, where do you donate your flowers? Is there a place, a company that, can help you with that?
Good question. So there are several different options and it's kind of cool. So a lot of florists, if you're going to donate your flowers, they will come back and pick them up for you for free. They'll come back, repurpose them, and they'll donate them to hospitals. They'll donate them to VAs. They'll donate them to retirement homes. So I actually live next to a retirement home. So a lot of times if my couples don't take it, I'll throw what I can in my car. And, it's a retirement home. They're open 24 hours. So I'll get home and I'll drop them off for them. I'm not fancy. I'm not repurposing. I'm not making them beautiful, but they're already pretty. They're from the wedding. But there are companies, there are nonprofits that will come, pick it up and repurpose. So we just recently did one. We had a wedding the day before Mother's Day. So they picked it up, repurposed, and they donated it to different retirement homes for Mother's Day.
I love that. That's awesome. And it's not that complicated to do, right?
Yeah. No, not at all. It's so easy.
This next one, I think you and I are on the same page. We've talked about this a lot your decor. Renting versus buying, right? So I think a lot of times our couples will say, you know what, like, why is this linen so expensive to rent? We're going to go buy it on Amazon. So what happens to that after the wedding?
So a lot of times people will buy it, and it might be cheaper online than to rent it from a company. But what happens is, number one, and we've talked about this, right? They come wrinkled or creased or whatnot. You have no labor now to actually set the tables, or people have bought chair covers and napkins, and now you're trying to iron napkins and fold napkins the night before the wedding. In addition to that, right, if you think about a napkin, what do you do with it? You wipe your face, you wipe your body, right? Your napkins are now dirty. Who's going to want to take those home? Nobody takes home dirty napkins. So
right.
What happens is the linens are wet because you've spilled water, you spilled alcohol, whatever, the food's on the table. Blew your nose on the linen, blew your nose on the napkin. You're going to dump it. 90% of the couples that buy linens will throw it away in the dumpster right there. So there is just crazy amounts of waste. It's a bummer.
Versus renting it. It might be the same cost. It might be a little less, might be a little bit more, but you're also reusing it. The cleaning, the ironing, the steaming, whatever it might be, is all included in that price, right?
Exactly. And if you do buy it to save money, I highly encourage you, if it's possible, to at least get it cleaned and resell it. There's a ton of Facebook marketplaces and there's a ton of Craigslist places where you can resell all of your wedding decor. So if you do choose to buy it, resell it. We have had a couple weddings where the couple didn't want it, and they will have another couple at 10 o'clock at night when the wedding's over come and pick up the stuff. So the condition is you get it, we can donate it for free, the linens, but you pick up the dirty linens at night and you take it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's not just linen that we're talking about. I mean, I think we see 99% of DIY gets DI dumped, right? It's true.
It is. So we have so many couples at the end of the night that will throw away candles or card boxes or flower girl baskets and all of these things that are just so wasteful. But a lot of times it's cheaper for them, so they'd rather do that. But when we take a step back, when we look at the bigger impact, does it make sense for the environment to do that?
You said no water bottles. How do we get away from single-use plastics on a wedding day?
So there's a couple of things, right? Most of the bar companies that we work with can create a refreshment station. So you can have water. When you have service staff, they're pouring water at the tables into water goblets. So that's totally fine. My whole thing with the water bottles is what I like to do at the end of the night when everyone's been drinking, when they're done after a long day of partying and dancing and drinking, it's having water bottles to pack them up on the bus. Most times you can't bring an open glass of water on a shuttle. So giving them a water bottle so they can clean up, silver up. Sometimes I give them some liquid IV to kind of keep them ready. But again, I like having the water bottles at the end of the night.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I understand that. But I think you can have a water station. Maybe you just can't bring it on the bus. Boo-hoo. It's okay. You can make it home. Drink before you get on the bus. You don't want to be stuck on the bus and have to pee. You know what I mean?
You cannot pee on the bus.
Do it for the planet. Do it for the bus driver.
They also have, instead of those plastic water bottles now, they have the metal ones that Jason Momoa sells. And that's amazing because he's hot. And then you also have those box water bottles. So I guess there are other options to plastic water bottles.
Sure. Yeah, the paper carton type water boxes are, I think, better than single-use plastic. Still not great. But, I think everybody, support Jason Momoa.
Well, I think the whole thing is, right, what are little mini steps you can take to being more sustainable? Jason Momoa and his water bottles or the box water is still better than plastic.
Right. And I think this leads into our bigger point is just avoiding all single-use anything, right? If it's just meant for that one day, we're talking about plastic plates, plastic silverware, disposable napkins, all these things you can rent, and you're absolutely taking ownership in not creating so much waste.
And I think, honestly, having real plates, real forks, again, it's a wedding. And even if it's a casual wedding, it just lends to it being something a little more special than a backyard party.
Yeah. All right, we have a few more points. The next one I think is kind of interesting because I don't see some of these things, but I see some of these things a lot.
And these are pet peeves. I don't see it either, but balloons,
yeah.
When people, and this was, I think, really popular maybe 10 years ago, is they do these huge balloon releases. And I think now we just know the impact it has on our environment, right? Like the birds, then it falls into the oceans, and then our seals get stuck in the water with the balloons. Like, it's a lot of plastic for literally no reason.
Well, I guess I was thinking balloons too for decor. I think that used to be really
I was
popular.
Thinking like balloon release.
Yeah, no, but I've seen a lot of like, they can do these like balloon arches and stuff. I mean, I think it's probably sort of not trending at all anymore, but also fake flower petals. Like, I'm sure like it's easy just to order it on Amazon and you have it in your go-to kit, whatever, for your wedding. But like, your florist can bring you real flower petals that, are going to go back into the environment and not, just be waste.
So this is something funny. We're in Hawaii and it's gorgeous. And we have a lot of these beautiful outdoor weddings where fake petals are not allowed, so we need to use real petals. We're still required to pick them up. It's still trash. But then if you go indoors to chapels, they only allow fake petals because they don't want the staining of like red roses or anything on their marble floors. So the main thing is if you're using these petals, fake or real, it's cleaning it up.
Do you really need the fake petals though?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think they add anything. I think they add cheese to your cheese factory.
That's so rude. I love cheese though.
No one has ever said that was the most amazing wedding because of your fake flower petals.
Well, and I think they get slippery. So if you put too many on the ground, if you're tossing aggressively,
there goes Grandma. Thank you.
You're gonna slip.
Yeah.
I've slipped.
All right.
I can get behind the next one, and this is choosing experiences over physical objects. And what I mean by that, right? When we're looking at ways that we can elevate the guest experience, a lot of people are thinking about favors, and what I've seen in the past, not as much anymore, are shot glasses or keychains or pens or
beer koozies,
right?
Yep.
And a lot of those will end up in the trash. At the end of the night, as I'm cleaning up, I'm packing up all of the miscellaneous things that people didn't take. So instead of that, why don't you do an experience? So we've done photo lounges, photo booths, we've done, and again, a lot of the cool things too is they don't even have to print them. They can go straight to your phone. Because let's be honest, everyone is doing it to post on social media. So to be able to have it posted on social media, to be able to do late night snacks or some sort of food or other experience, we've done live painters. Put your money there instead and allow guests to have an experience instead of these miscellaneous tchotchkes that nobody's going to take at the end of the night.
Right. And I think that's the funny thing is like, if you were to collect all of those things that are left over at the end of the night that people are like, oh, that's cute, but they're not going to take it home. They don't want it. It's probably a bad idea. The other thing is if you're giving away a shot glass, give a shot instead. Like that's more fun. I like the experience of having the shot rather than having this, it's just a tchotchke that's going to sit in your house and never get used. Like nobody wants that. As much as it might be tempting, avoid it.
Finally, my last point is leaning into local cuisine. And what I mean by that is, when you're planning your menu, source vendors, source caterers that do and lean into farm to table. They work with local farmers. They use a lot of local ingredients. They source local foods because it's going to really, again, in the long term, help the carbon footprint, support the local economy, and overall, I think you'll just have a better experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Gosh, actually, this was a great episode. I feel really good about myself. How do you feel?
I feel like I'm saving the earth
I
one
think
wedding
we are.
at a time.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, listen, guys, it's not a big ask to do some of these things. You're not going to increase your budget by choosing renting plates versus buying plates that you're going to throw away. I mean, a lot of these are just, it's being conscious of the role you play when you're planning your wedding. And where does all these things that you're going to be using on your wedding day end up? Nobody wants to consciously be wasteful. We want to be mindful. And so I think as you're planning, keep that in the front of your mind. And we are all doing our part.
And with that, that's a wrap. Don't forget, guys, save the date and save the earth. Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Unveiling Paradise.
If you enjoy our show, please follow us and rate us on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. It would really mean a lot.
And don't forget to also get on our mailing list and follow us on Instagram. Just do it already.
Until next time, this is Tessa.
And this is Joe.
And don't forget, your happily ever after
It's just a plane ride away.